Bear with me. I think something is happening. If you can hear me, please say hello. Oh my gosh. Let's say we are on the roll, or we're ready to roll. I hope we are. Please let me know if you are still with me. I would absolutely love that. I can see there's 4 attendees again. Here we go. Is happening. If you can hear me, please say hello. I can hear myself. Let's say we are on the roll. Okay, if you can hear me, please let me know. I can see there's some people on. Please let me know if you can see me. Let me know what your name is and where you are tuning in from. Huge apologies. I'm not sure what those technical issues were. I've actually been on since 10 to 7, so I can only apologise for that technology. I think webinar has changed slightly with the new YouTube live function, but I'm going to start when I know people are here. Bear with me. I'm just going to write again in the webinar group just to make sure people know where they are. But please do let me know where you are listening from, what your name is, what you want to get out of this webinar, but most of all, if you can hear me. Okay. These, unfortunately, are the things that happen. Right, I'm going to see if I can share my screen. I can see that I'm there. That's a good start. But are you the most important people there? On the left-hand side, if you are watching, is a little chat box. That chat box will enable you to connect with me, to ask questions, to connect with each other. There we go. And to see, yeah, and to let me know if you can hear this webinar and if you can see me. So I'm going to wait for another minute. But as I do not want you to miss out on this valuable content, nothing. Okay. I will find a way to do this by hook or by crook and send it to you. Nope, I can't see anyone interacting. Okay, let's see who's here. Oh, amazing, Takumba. Thank you so much. You are here. Do you know what they say? Les Brown's talks of one of his first talks. He did a talk and there literally was one person in the audience. And he said, do you know what? It's so important to value that one person, to value that person who's turned up, showed up and has stuck with us throughout. So thank you very much, Takumba. I am going to get started. First of all, oh my gosh, Takumba. Thank you so much for joining us. Could you let me know, please, what attracted, tell me, give me one thing that you want to get out of this webinar, and if you are writing a book or thinking about writing a book. Fantastic. It's good to know the chat box is working. All right, so I'm just going to get started. Welcome to the webinar, 3 things you need to know before you publish your book. It's so important. People say that the writing process is the difficult process. People say that publishing is tricky, but it's really about creating a life for your book. It's not just about, you know, looking at this as standalone processes, but it's so important to look at it as a journey. And that, thank you very much, Takumba. And that, you know, even goes back to the life before your book. So important to get it right before you start. First of all, who am I? My name is Daniela Bleckner. I am the little one in that, I don't know what you call them now, some sort of strange trolley toy in the red dungarees, and the girl on the little chair. As a young girl, I was quite precocious, you can say. Your book is ready for print. Awesome. Let's definitely talk. I know to be doing some amazing things as well. But as a young child, I loved to read. I was one of these kids that probably could read at a very young age, and was a real bookworm, and loved to get knowledge, loved to read, loved to write. I probably could write before I could talk properly, to be fair. I was very bold in the sense that I felt like I knew that I wanted what I wanted to do. And I remember saying, I'm going to be an author. You know, I don't know how many 4-year-olds know this word, but this was at 4. And I was adamant that, you know, I was going to become an author before I retired at 40. Obviously, I had no clue. Retired at 40, and then I was going to sit at home and just write books and make people happy, and, you know, enjoy, you know, seeing the smiles on people's faces as they were reading my books. And that's something I've always declared to the world. And there's something that I love about young people is they're innocent, they dream big, they're not backwards in coming forward, they're honest, they're true. And I want to talk about the power of words. You know, I didn't say I want to be, it was I am. And the words I am are so important. In fact, abracadabra is the reason why it's associated with magic is it's actually the Hebrew phrase means I create what I speak, which actually can be traced back to Kemetan times. Abracadabra means I create what I speak. So it's so important to think about the words that we speak over ourselves. If there's something that we want to do, if we want to become an author, declare that and make those actionable steps towards it. All spiritual teachings talk about the power of words. Now, I realize that it's a late start, so I'm not going to go into that too much, but it's just something to think about when you are, you know, really passionate about achieving your dreams and your goals. So who am I? People who are, I don't know, Takamba, you know, I'm the author of a book called Mr. Wrong. It actually became a best-selling book in a couple of categories, but one of them was the widest category, relationships, beating Steve Harvey, Think Like a Man, Act Like a Lady. Great book. The Rules, and a couple of other, I think it was A Joy of Sex. I also have a workbook. I run a workshop called 7 Steps to Creating the Greatest Version of You and 7 Shades of Love. And all these books came out before the age of 35, actually. A bit about my story before I actually go into it. I knew that I wanted to publish a book, and I started off actually writing a children's book, absolutely passionate about it. But I kept on bumping into, you know, this Mr. Wrong character, and so many people said, Dan, if you meet one more, you have to write a book. I met one more, but I wanted to write a book that connected women through, you know, sharing our powerful stories. It's a collection of relationship stories from women across all over the world who have encountered this infamous Mr. Wrong character. But more to the point, it's a journey of self-discovery. I believe that if you keep on attracting the same sort of person, the same sort of circumstance, then we need to start looking within at our belief systems. And this is what this book is really about. It looks at the power of forgiveness, the power of intention, the power of, you know, our actions and the words that we speak. I was so passionate about this book, and I really wanted to see it go to print. I had a real vision for it. And I read Harry Bingham's Getting Published, and I did everything by rote. The first thing I did was it said was, number 1, write a query letter. I wrote a query letter. What is a query letter? A query letter is like a cover letter, should we say, that you write to agents to get them to, you know, take you on. So I wrote this query letter, sent it off to agents with 3 chapters of my book. I hadn't finished writing. And while I was waiting, they can take up to 3 months for them to get back. And while I was, you know, sending it off and waiting for a response, I stopped writing. And I waited and I waited and I waited. Then all the responses came back, you know, 3 months in. I'm glad you tried. Awesome. I'm glad you can hear to come up. All the kind of letters came back, and it was, oh, Daniela, you've got great talent. We love, you know, your humor and your wit, and the way you put, you know, the stories in here are fantastic. However, we're looking for somebody who's built a greater platform, or we were looking for somebody who has already published or has an established platform. I was new. I was just coming, you know, I was fresh. I was just coming out, didn't know anything about this really. So I was like, okay, fine. But something about that made me want to, you know, push even further and do what they say not to do, which is to contact traditional publishers who I knew didn't take solicited or unsolicited authors. An unsolicited author is an author that doesn't have an agent. So I fired off all my query letters again with a copy of the my manuscript or a couple of chapters. They say normally the first 3, or one at the beginning, one at the end, and one from the middle, to get the kind of the arc of the book. So I sent this off, really proud. And while I was waiting for a response, anything up to 3 months, again, I stopped writing, and I waited and I waited and I waited until all the letters came back. I say all the letters, it was about 2. Bear in mind, I was contacting the big 5, like HarperCollins, Random House, Penguin, all the big wigs, and I got my letters back saying, this is great, we really enjoyed a read, what an enjoyable read, fun, witty, similar words coming up again. However, we only take on authors that are represented. And so something about that was like, what, you can either roll over and say, I'm not good enough, or, oh gosh, the gatekeeper said no, or you can push further. And so I started looking at self-publishing companies. But unfortunately, I found, I don't know if anyone out here has researched self-publishing companies, but it was like a quagmire. There's so much information. There's so many avenues out there. And there's so many, it's a bit like a maze. And there's so many publishing houses that once you fill out the publishing form or whatever it is, contact form, and they want to take thousands and thousands of pounds from you and accept your manuscript without having read it. And I felt there was something fundamentally wrong with that. If you're publishing your story, it's personal to you, it's valuable. So why wouldn't you want the publishers to read it? Why wouldn't the publishers want to read it and authenticate and validate what you have, and to really value the story in the book, and to be choosy, qualify what they're accepting. And so it made me realize that, wow, I wasn't waiting for a response from the agents. I wasn't waiting for a response from the traditional companies. I was actually waiting for validation. But I realized actually it's not about that. If you know that you've got a powerful story, and I knew that I had to honor the women's stories within the book, there are very powerful stories there, and I knew by hook or by crook I was getting it out. I was accepted by a self-publishing company that was, a very good one, actually, after I did my research. And then I started to sort of get obsessed with researching, what is an ISBN? How do I distribute a book? And how do I get into retailers? And I started little by little to build a team around me and actually create my own book. So it is possible. And then the reason for me telling you this, hi Tariro, you're here, yay! The reason for me telling you this story is to really know that the industry is changing. It's not about waiting for the commercial companies to say yes. Self-publishing is valid. Self-publishing is no longer got the stigma of being vanity publishing. Self-publishing is a legitimate way to get yourself out there, get your message out there in front of millions of people, create a global audience, and do it in a professional way. There you go. There's evidence, just in case, that I got onto the bestseller list. I think that's number 6 there in marriage, number 6, 7, and 17 in marriage, weddings, and relationships. Relationships was the one I was most proud of because it's a much wider category. I'll do another webinar on, how to get onto the bestseller list another day. But it starts by writing a really good book. There is no tricks. There are things that can enhance your opportunity of doing it, but there's no tricks. You can't pay unless you buy millions of books yourself, possibly. I'm not sure about that. But, it starts with writing a great book. I started to create my own press. I contacted magazines. I contacted radio stations, and then I found, after I was in The Voice, I had lots of press contacting me. At the end of last 2015, I found my Mr. Right, and I was in the paper. I had a feature in the Daily Mail. Not my favorite paper, but I was in there. The reason I'm showing you this is because if I can do it, and if you have a powerful story, you can do this too. You can absolutely create your own press. You can absolutely create your own journey for your book. And I want to impress that this is all about creating your journey for your book. Thinking about it before you start. So what we do is I haven't told you, I'm the founder of a company called Conscious Dreams Publishing. We provide bespoke publishing and mentoring services for authors of powerful messages and stories to share with the world. I call myself a book journey mentor because if you've got anything from the first 10 minutes of this webinar, having a book is very much a journey. So it starts from, let's say, the pre-birth, which is what I'm going to be speaking about today, to the actual publication, the self-publishing process, and then the life after the book is out there, because so many authors I speak to during my consultations have published a book and it's a great book, but it's just sitting there on Amazon or on the kind of online ether, but not selling because no one knows that it's there. So it's about creating that journey and coming up with a bespoke book strategy. We have an experienced and creative team. It's not just me. I am the book journey mentor, but it's so important to have a team of people who are experts in their field. So that's typesetters. They do the interior design of the book. That's the book cover designers. That's the editors, the proofreaders, all different aspects of publishing. We produce high quality books. We offer marketing and PR assistance and inside tips to becoming a bestseller. One of my favorite quotes here is either write something worth reading or do something worth writing about, by Benjamin Franklin. If you're here, please let me know if you feel you're doing something worth writing about and what that is. So are you doing something worth writing about, and what is that thing? And then there's a slight time delay, so I will go on and just wait for your little messages to pop up. This is just an image here from one of my study guides or books I give to my mentees called The Book Journey Mentor's Guide to Self-Publishing. And the whole sort of visual metaphor of this is to show very much how much, to show how you're, having your book is very much a journey from your story through to marketing, promotion, to hopefully becoming a bestseller. So with me, let me know, say hello. Okay, so here are two of my mentees. We've got Janine Cummings, a lovely girl who is the author of everything. She was my very first mentee. She's also the UK #1 female live streamer and online community leader of Women of Worth Facebook group. Awesome group. Sienna Bangora, who is the author of Elephant. Both books were on the Amazon best-selling list in their category. Sienna was #1 in women's poetry. Dean Williams is my partner. He is a business consultant. You've written some children's books on money. Fantastic. It's so important to educate our children on finance, how to better manage their finances, how to earn money, how to earn extra income. And actually, funny you said that, Takumba. My partner is here. His name is Dean Williams. He's written a book called The Path to Financial Peace, all about how to manage your finances better. I learned so much through this workbook. And it definitely, he's passionate about teaching, finance in schools. Tammy, turning your challenges and doubts with adversity to motivate into motivation for other women. Awesome. And that's what we're about at Conscious Dreams Publishing. It's using our personal stories of seemingly adversity to really inspire and empower other people. And it's about using that and coming from an empowered place to translate that message. Awesome, Tammy. I'd love to speak to you more about this. So what I did, I worked with Dean. He'd already published before I met him. I worked with him to come up with a book strategy to help him to get onto the bestseller list. And he did, in his category, beating a book by Oprah Winfrey, Tony Robbins, and Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. I know he was very proud about that, and it was very exciting at the time. Still is. My youngest author is called Mika Dolphy. Awesome, awesome young lady. She contacted me. I came into a school and spoke about being an author, and she contacted me and said, I'm ready to publish my book. Her dad passed away when she was 13, 2 years ago, and he always encouraged her to write and to read. And she used to write poems and read them to him. And for some reason, she felt stuck, and she always wanted to publish a book, but felt that she couldn't. And she got to this point where she felt she was ready, and she contacted me and she simply said, I'm ready. I'm ready to publish my book. She'd written over 100 poems in honor of her dad and put together a book called Poetic Surds. We published on her late father's birthday, the 14th of January, and it was such a success. She had so much support behind her. She became a bestseller on Amazon, #1 in women's poetry and #1 in women's fiction. Not quite sure how she got into fiction, but she did. And yeah, we've had some massive success with that, and I'm so proud of her. And it shows that it doesn't matter what age you are, what stage you are in life, it's never too late to to really go for your dreams. She was featured on the front of South London Press, as you can see, and some other papers as well. There we go. Zena Arinzi is our latest mentee, and I know you know her, Takumba. Zena's awesome. She's a divorce recovery coach, and she's really into helping people to reinvent themselves after divorce. She did the Power of the Story workshop in October. She had half a manuscript, and how many months later that is, 4 months later, 5 months later, she is launching her book, Reinvent You, How to Go From Me to We After Divorce. So again, it's using her personal story, her triumph through adversity, and using that to help others in a massive way. And if this is something that you're really about, you're definitely watching the right webinar and speaking to the right person, because that's really what we're about. So Zena Arinzi, her book launch is on the 16th of the 3rd, awesome woman, and 16th of the 3rd, 16th of March, awesome woman. And if Zena can do it, if all these mentees I've worked with have powerful stories, you can do it too. So let's crack into the content. The 3 things you need to know before you publish. #1 is know your why. What do I mean by why? Your why is so important. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it, whether it's conscious or subconscious. It's so important to connect to why you're doing what you're doing. For example, with Mr. Wrong, I was passionate about writing this book because I felt, I was so passionate about uniting, inspiring, empowering women by giving us a safe space to share our stories, but also to self-discover. There were so many books out there that told us as women how to be, what to say, how to act in order to get a man, but nothing that told us how to look within, how to create change, how to change our belief systems or even become aware of them, how to exercise the power of forgiveness, how to use words to change our paradigm, how to align our actions with the words that we speak in order to get a better outcome. And this is really what I wanted to do. Stories from real people, a space for us to self-discover and to create change for ourselves. So we are looking for authors that are interested primarily in sharing an important message or story for the benefit of others. Success isn't just about what you accomplish in life, it's about what you inspire others to do. So, here we go, sorry. So start with why. This is Simon Sinek. He is a visionary and serial entrepreneur. And he actually consults major companies such as Apple, all the big ones. It's been a long day, I can't remember them from my head. But he consults with major companies, getting them to really relaunch their business, getting them to really connect with their customers, connect with their audience. And he believes, again, like I said, people don't buy into what you do, they buy why you do it. There's a clip here at the bottom, awesome clip. I'm not going to show it now, but do check it out. If you put Simon Sinek in, he's got an amazing TED talk. But this particular clip is all about how he went to school and he was told relentlessly, he hated reading, but he was told relentlessly, you have to read, being told what to do, but not why. So he believes if you start with the why, because it will widen your vocabulary. It will help you with your imagination. Okay, how do I read? Well, you need to, being told the process comes after knowing the why. And then it's what? What are you doing? You're reading a book. Okay, it makes more sense. You started with why. So important. So what I want you to think about is, why are you doing what you're doing, and why are you writing what you're doing? So if you could type that in the box, that would be awesome. Really good to share this practice. So the book that you're writing right now, or perhaps a book that you've written, or perhaps a book that you're thinking about writing, why are you writing that book? Where does that passion come from? Because it's the passion that people connect to, not the actual product. Okay, the second, in fact, I want to just quickly go to this slide here. It's so important as well to consider who you're writing for. Value your reader, because you are creating an experience. When people are reading your book, they're connecting with the why, not necessarily the what. I'll give you an example. You've only just managed to get on. Hi, Susan. Lovely to see you. Yay. I'm so glad. I will send you a replay, not to worry. There's been some technical issues today, so I'm not sure what's going on in the air, but, you know, we're here and it's fantastic. So value your reader. It's so important. I'll give you an example. J.K. Rowling, I think she's amazing. I love her books just because I love fiction and language and the way she writes. It's just phenomenal talent. But what really attracts me now is knowing her story, knowing who she is, knowing why she wrote it. She wrote that in one bedroom, a 2-bedroom bedsit as a single parent with depression. And she just divorced and she was going through a very tough time. And that was her release. That was her escapism. And she believed so much in this dream that she continued. And her knockbacks were, this is another webinar, but the amount of knockbacks she got as a female author was just enough to, you know, put anyone off. But the fact that she continued, and she's now worth over 12 billion. Her net worth is worth over 12 billion. And she just inspires me. So it's connecting with the why that's so important. And one thing I say, it's not the product that is valued the most, but the experience it creates. So think about what experience you want to create with your book. Going back to Mr. Wrong, my why was to unite, inspire, and empower women, giving them a platform to share their stories, but to self-discover. I wanted to provide them with an experience that was one of going on a journey, you know, reading stories that make them laugh, make them cry, make them journey inwards, make them think, make them feel connected to other women, make them feel like they're not alone in these, you know, relationship stories that we so often sweep under the carpet. So think about the experience that you want to create. Okay, fantastic. Susan, you've written lots of notes and that could be transformed as memoirs. That is absolutely fantastic. Takombo, learning about money before one learns the hard way. So important. I work with young people right now, and I say it's so important to be financially educated, something I wish I got in school. Susan, but you wanted to write a needed to be ready. Okay, are you ready now, Susan? Let me know. I learned the hard way and want young children to learn about it without going through money hardship. And that's the thing, it's connecting to our story, connecting to, you know, what we didn't have in order to give to somebody else, imparting that knowledge and that advice through our own story and learning through our own mistakes in a way. Fantastic, thank you. Okay, so number one was know your why. It's so important. And whenever you get lost, if you have a radio interview, for example, or, you know, you're having any sort of interview, it's so important to connect back to that why, because that is the essence of what you do. Number two is to create a clear vision. You're ready, Susan? Yay! Let's get the party poppers up. That's fantastic. What do I mean by creating a clear vision? As I said before, the writing can be tricky. It depends if you love writing or not. As I say, there's always different people that you can rope into to help you with the writing. I'm not a book writing coach, but there are book writing coaches out there, editors. Use highly expert people. Use your expert team. People say it's the publishing that's difficult. For me, that's the easy bit. It's about creating a clear vision and life for your book. Again, I always say it's like having a baby. See, I was gonna say, you don't just push it out, but you know, you plan for that baby's life. You make provisions. You have hopes and dreams, and you wish the best for it. And it's like your book. When it comes through that door, it's like, oh, there's a feeling like never before. You know, something that you've created. So it's so important to spend that time beforehand planning and creating the life of your book. The first year of your book's life is the most important. So if you work with us on the mentoring scheme, certainly I offer a 1 hour free vision creation session. And in that session, we sit down and we don't just talk about, you know, what you want the interior to look like, how you envision the front cover to look, how, you know, the fonts, all of that stuff that make up the actual physical book. It goes deeper than that. I believe, well, I say I believe, but it's absolutely true that your book is not just your book. Authors, okay, Susan, if you say it feels daunting, I actually don't know where to start, I 100% understand exactly what you're saying. I've got a video actually called 3 Myths That Keep Your Book a Story. The first part is about lack of knowledge. Because we don't know how, we know what we want to do, but because we don't know how, we often just stop, procrastinate, or become stuck. But it's just about, you know, getting a mentor such as myself to actually guide you through that process, to really demystify, you know, what it is to self-publish in order for you to get to that top of that mountain. So if you watch the beginning, it's all about, you know, creating that life for your book, doing your research. I remember, you know, through my journey, it did feel, I think I use the word daunting as well, because there are so many different avenues you can take, but it's just about creating that clear path. So we do a vision creation session. It's all about, you know, planning for the life of your book, and that goes beyond what the physical book looks like. It goes into, you know, what promotion strategies are you going to use? What kind of interviews do you want? Who do you want to align yourself with? What kind of JVs or joint ventures do you want? Who represents what you're doing? I'm going to give you a quick story, actually. So here we go. What opportunities do you want to attract? Do you want speaking engagements? Because your book is a marketing tool. You will never, no, I don't want to say never, unless you're J.K. Rowling, your book will not be your main source of income. This is something I want to demystify right now. You are not going to make millions and millions from your book. It's not a general average thing to happen. It's an amazing, you know, gold mine if that's happened. So your main income will not come through your book. It will come through what your book goes on to do for you. So like Takumba, if you may need a mentor, okay, speak with me. If you stay with us, Susan, I'll let you know how you can book a consultation and some opportunities that are coming up. But so I like Takumba, I know that you do financial education workshops. So through your book, you use your book as a tool to really attract people. You know, you get yourself in front of a global audience, tell them about your workshops, put your contact details in there, and it's a way for them to connect with you first as a person, then what you do. And then once they buy into what you do, then they will become an advocate and they will buy the next book. They'll come to your workshops, they'll come to your seminars, they'll come to your speaking gigs. So it's about what you want your book to do for you. Before I go through joint ventures and strategic alliances, what I want to say is it's so important to come from a place of integrity. How do you do that? That's by connecting to your why again. Everything starts with why. So important. Here's a story. As you know, my first book was called Mr. Wrong. So that is in the relationship category. I believe very much I'm an expert of my life. I can never tell somebody how to live their life. I know what my skills are, I know what my gift is, and I know what my talents are. That is nurturing the talents in others in terms of getting them to, you know, really claim their story and get it out there, you know, mentoring them through the book journey process. I am not a relationship coach in any way, shape or form. I would never pose myself as that, but I'm very much an expert in my life and was really passionate about uniting women by sharing our stories and learning through them. I'm all about learning. So I was offered an interview with a very big women's magazine, actually, and they contacted me before they'd read the book, and they said, Daniela, we've heard you've written a book called Mr. Wrong. We'd love to feature you in our magazine. What do you think my reaction was? Yay, this is fantastic. So when I asked further questions, it turned out that what they wanted was for me to send in pictures of myself and my exes with their faces pixelated, of course, they said, and basically sort of dishing the dirt on them. And that's when I had to think to myself, hold on, yes, this is a great opportunity to get in, you know, in front of thousands of people. But no, this does not resonate with me because that is so far from what my why is. That's so far from why I'm doing this. It's not about slating anyone. It's not about putting anyone down. It's not about, you know, blame in any way, shape or form. It's about owning our stories and looking within. So I had to turn them down. I said no. And I just want to say it's so important to make sure that you know that not every opportunity is golden, that not everything that comes your way is going to be for you. So stay in alignment with your mission, your vision and why. And anything that is outside of that is not for you, and it's okay to say no. I've been invited to go to conferences and, you know, as a relationship coach or a dating expert, and I've turned them down because that's not who I am. Know your why, know who you are, know what your message is, know what you've come to speak. So important. So opportunities that it could open for you is speaking gigs, joint ventures, Joint ventures is, you know, aligning yourself with people and organizations that are doing similar things to you. So say, for example, you have written a book on healthy lifestyle or healthy living, and there happens to be, you know, an amazing speaker on juicing, for example. What joint venture could you do? Could you do a conference together? Could you support each other? Could you share each other's content in their mailing list? Therefore, you know, creating more followers. So look for people. No man or woman is an island. Look for people who can work alongside you, collaborate with you, and again, make sure these people who you're JVing with are in alignment with not just one of them, all of them. Your why, your mission, your vision, and your values. So biggest thing that I've learned over the last 3 years. Thank God for that message. So the other one is strategic alliances. Strategic alliances are slightly different from JVs because they're more established companies or organizations who may represent what you do. Perhaps they could sponsor you. Perhaps they could work alongside you, providing merchandise for your goodie bags. For example, one of my Conscious Dreams publishing strategic alliances is Ingram Spark. I'll do another webinar on them, but Ingram Spark is a platform. You have Create Space, you have Lulu. Ingram Spark is the cousin company of the largest book distribution company in the world, I think it is actually. I won't make that bold claim, but most books that you see in the UK and the US are printed and distributed by Lightning Source. And because self-publishing is growing at a rapid rate, they realized that they needed to have another platform that, you know, rivaled Create Space or rivaled Lulu, but were offering it on a much more professional manner, shall I say. So because the big five, so the Penguins, the Random Houses, the HarperCollins use Lightning Source, they created a division for independent authors of small publishing houses such as myself to publish their books. So much like Create Space, it sets you up with an account and you can publish your book by uploading your files. The quality is much better. It's of a high quality, should we say, a higher quality. But you're also so much more in charge of your book journey. You can edit your details at any point. You can re-upload files. They distribute your book to over 39,000 online retailers, so you're not just limited to Amazon or one channel. You can change your price at any time. You can set your wholesale price. You can work out your royalties beforehand. You can track your sales. There's so many great Ingram Spark, but because sometimes the file formatting might be difficult, this is why we set up accounts for people, just to cut out all the fiddly technical stuff, should we say. But it's great. We don't hide anything. We don't act as a middle person. We literally will hook you up directly with a distributor where the royalties go straight into your account. You can track your sales, and you're so much more empowered than, you know, working with a company that you can't track your sales. You don't know where your royalties are. You don't know how much you're getting. You're not in charge of your book price. So this is what we do. But they're a strategic alliance for us, and we get some great perks, and they will come along to our conferences and speak about the publishing industry and how to distribute a book. So who do you think you could align yourself with in regards to your book? So I just want you to have a little think. If you have a pad and paper, write down what speaking engagements you'd like to attend. What kind of conferences would suit you to come and speak at? So Susan, you want to, you know, you're writing about your personal story. Who would benefit most from that personal story, and what kind of places can you see yourself speaking at? I know Takumba's online. Thank you, Tammy. Thank you so much. Takumba's online. She's an event organizer as well as the many hats she wears. And she has an event called Women Elevating Women. Awesome event. She actually asked me to come and speak about my company there. But thanks, Takumba. But it's a great environment for women to share their expertise. Many entrepreneurs share their expertise, but also their personal life stories in order to inspire and empower and motivate each other. Really fun event, really powerful as well. So I'm imagining, Susan, that would be, you know, an event like that for women would be a great platform for you to speak at. Takumba, joint ventures. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you want to find So that'd be more strategic alliances, joint ventures. Is there anyone out there who is doing something similar but in a different way to what you're doing? Is there anyone that you could partner up with or do a joint webinar with? Yeah, so for example, maybe you might want to talk about money management. Maybe you might want to find somebody who teaches entrepreneurships in schools and partner up with them to do a webinar about why money management and entrepreneurships are so important. Strategic alliances, to come on thinking of Tammy. Tell me a bit about your book, Tammy. Let me go back because I'm trying to think. You don't know. Okay, bear with me, please. Tammy, you want to talk about turning your challenges and bouts with adversity into motivation for other women. So again, Tammy, Takumba's event would be something that would be fantastic for you as well. Speaking at women's events, definitely. Well, there's lots of women's events popping up over the last 5 years. Actually, we're getting more and more powerful. Yes. So yes, think about speaking gigs, joint ventures, and strategic alliances that you could align yourself with. Again, these are things you could do all before your book is out. Also, create a media list. Think about media that really appeals to you and what you're doing. You don't want to be firing off your standard letters and copies of your book to all sorts of different places if they're not looking for you. Look for magazines, radio stations. Make a list of magazines, radio stations, bloggers. Blogging is huge at the moment. TV stations, even that you want to align yourself with, that you'd like to see, you can see yourself having an interview with. Be bold, go out there. I wrote down Loose Women, and I actually had an opportunity to go and just popped in my email inbox one day, and it said, you are invited to come down for free to sit in the audience for Loose Women. I thought, amazing. Went down, my book was just out. I took 4 gift bags, and I thought, you know what? I want to give one to each one of the women. And once I kind of decided that, I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to do it now. And unfortunately, I was sat away from my friend. So we were all at different end of the studio, and I had these 4 bags. And during the warm-up act, so the ladies hadn't come out yet, and the warm-up act was kind of speaking with us, trying making us laugh and stuff. And my friend and I were talking across the room, and he said, what are you 2 girls talking about? And I found myself going, I've written a book. Because we were talking about, oh my gosh, when's the best time to give it to them? He's like, okay, tell us, what's the book about? And then he started, speaking about it in front of the audience. And then I had the opportunity then to give each one of the women, there's Colleen Nolan, oh, this is terrible, I've forgotten their names, I'm so sorry, Loose Women. But I got to give them all a goodie bag. And the reason I remember Colleen Nolan is because she actually retweeted a post about Mr. Wrong. Unfortunately, during that time, one of their presenters, Linda Bellingham, passed away the following week. And for some reason, I just felt I wasn't able to follow that up. But it's just about dreaming big, thinking big, and aligning your actions and your words with what you say you're going to do. So create that vision, put it out there in the ether before you even start. I would also be interested in the spiritual movement too. Okay, fantastic. So something like for you, Susan, again, the Best You Expo. At the beginning, I showed one of my mentees, Zena, who has, we've been mentoring her through the book publishing process, showing her how to set up her own brand and publish through her own name. And she also attended the Power of Your Story workshop, and her book launched, it's launching on tomorrow. Oh yes, tomorrow. I'm hosting her book launch tomorrow. Check her out, Zena Arinze. Find her on Facebook, the information's there, fantastic. She had an exhibition at the Best You Expo, which is, a place for doing NLP and lots of spiritual and holistic and lifestyle event, really good event. Okay, number 3. Are we all still okay? Can I see who's online? Just for me, don't be afraid to type them in. I can look over at the end and definitely ask them. We have about 10 minutes left, so do bear with me. Okay, number 3 is know your audience. So important. When I give consultations to aspiring authors, I always ask the question, who is your target audience, or who do you feel your target audience is? And 8 times out of 10, I always get, oh, anyone can read it. Anyone can read, yes. Thank you, Susan. Anyone can read, yes, but your book is never for everyone. By saying it's for everyone, you are detracting away the uniqueness and value of your book, because when you're writing a book, you must have that reader in mind. We are multifaceted people. As you can see, one size does not fit all. We come from different backgrounds, different races, different belief systems, different set of problems, different religions, different everything, you know, interests, likes, dislikes. Your book is not going to suit everyone. It's so important to find out who your target market is, where they hang out, and where you can meet them, and how you can get them to connect to your book. As you can see here, another example is some people say, women, my book is just for women. Okay, let's get deeper. What sort of women? Women getting married, single women, so look at this image right down in the bottom left-hand corner, sexy women, you know, pregnant women, women who, you know, are into the natural movement. There's so many different types of women. So the more specific you can get, the clearer your message will be. So again, here's an example: age, family, children. Are they professional, employed, unemployed? Most importantly, what are their problems? Are they struggling with a breakup? Is it that they can't find a job? Are they unhappy in her job? Are they unhappy in their job? Do they feel alone? Do they lack confidence? Are they in a high-powered job in a world of men and struggling to find their own identity and their own place in that that kind of setup? So you really want to address, especially if you're writing non-fiction, you really want to address these pain points. You really want to provide solutions to their problems and be really refined about who your audience are. So to recap, the three things you need to know before you publish is: one, know your why. So important. Whenever you're stuck, whenever you lose your way within your writing or even an interview, connect back to that why. Number two, know your vision. So not just what the book's going to look like, what kind of opportunities do you want to get? What speaking engagements, what JVs, what strategic alliances, what press coverage do you want? Number three is to know your audience. Remember, you are creating an experience for your audience. So the clearer idea you have as to who your reader is and what they want and what their problems are that you may be solving within your book, the better and more what am I looking for? The more valuable your book will be. It's so important as well to know where they hang out. And you can do this via surveys. That is another webinar. Oh, it's 8:15, and I've managed to fit this into an hour. I still have another 5 minutes left. Okay, this is Marianne Williamson, spiritual leader. So this is one of my favorite quotes. It's: our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. You, if you have a passion, if you feel you are not in your purpose and writing a book is part of your purpose, it doesn't have to be your whole purpose, but it's part of your purpose. If you feel telling your story is something that is of worth and value to others and is going to help to create that change with others, or to get them thinking differently, and it's time now to get your story out, I want to ask you, are you ready? Are you ready to shine? Are you ready to connect with others through your story and to create that change? What I would love to offer you, if you are ready, I don't know if you've seen, those who are on Facebook, I'm running a workshop called The Power of Your Story. Now, this is for women, for 10 women who they might have started writing a book. It doesn't matter. You might be halfway through, or you might have finished and you're ready to go. As you can see, there's Zena in the yellow jacket who came to us and she was halfway through her book. It's 297 pages and it's absolutely fantastic. It's called Reinvent You: How to Move from We to Me After Divorce, for women and for men to an extent who are recovering the loss of a partner through divorce. Recovering from the loss of a partner through divorce. Awesome book, and beautiful. It looks absolutely beautiful as well. So she came to us and she was halfway through the book, and her book is actually launching tomorrow. So it's all about connecting with other women. It's such a beautiful space. It's in the Ideas Room at the Ship of Adventures in Hackney. What I love about the space is you've got this huge blackboard. You've got I keep talking about the fish, but you've got this beautiful fish tank, and it's just everything is sort of pirate themed as well. 6-week workshop. It will take you through the 7 stages of publishing. You will discover your unique why, establish your message and market. It will help you to create a clear structure and vision for your book. You also get one-to-one assistance with your book with me. It's a chance to gain knowledge, tools and resources needed to publish effectively. Again, Susan, you said this is so important because what stops people moving forward is not having that knowledge. By gaining that knowledge and gaining a real understanding through the books that we give you and through the teachings will really help you to demystify, any kind of doubts or things that you may think are difficult in the publishing world. Learn how to create a bespoke book strategy. It will help you to establish key links with retailers. Learn how a book can leverage your business if you have a business, or how it can become your business. It will help you to create a vision for your book launch. Most importantly, because it's so important, when you go to events, you can often feel alone, then go home and still feel alone. You get to mix and brainstorm with like-minded individuals with powerful stories and messages to share. And the amazing thing about this is that sometimes you may think that your story is going in one direction, but just sharing it with the next person can really help you to build upon what you've already got. Each week you'll complete weekly writing tasks for your book. Not always writing tasks, it can be different things that you'll be researching. It's an amazing opportunity. The last one, we absolutely loved it. Each week features a different aspect of self-publishing. So just to run through them, the first week is all about focusing on your mission, vision, and why with myself. We have guest speakers. The second one is all about refining your vision. The third one is all about, we have a book writing coach called Wendy York, awesome. She's also an editor who will be assisting you with running a workshop based on how to structure and edit your book. We also have a PR guru called Amanda Ruiz, who is also known as the ultimate door opener, who will be talking about how to get your book in the press and helping you release to discover your golden nuggets. You have to find out what that means if you come down. We also have my very first mentee, who I showed you at the beginning, Janine Cummings, who is the UK female #1 live streamer and founder of online community Women of Worth, with 3,000 plus women who are active. Awesome woman. She's going to be coming and running a workshop session based on how to use live streaming to elevate your business. Really fun workshop in particular because last time all the women you see there in the picture on the flyer, I think only one of them had ever live streamed. And during this workshop, each one came on one after the other, introduced themselves and introduced their book idea or their book. And it was absolutely phenomenal. And in terms of confidence and looking at live streaming in a different way, it was fantastic. The last workshop is run by my partner, Dean Williams, who is known as the Love Business Consultant. He consults entrepreneurs and helps them to develop and expand their business. In this case, he will be helping you to set book objectives for your book journey, book goals and objectives for your book journey. And it doesn't just stop there. As I said, so many people go. How many of you go to seminars or conferences or events and you're all fired up and it's fantastic and you've learned so much, and you go home, you feel inspired, it's like, yay, and then you sit at home and do nothing? I know that I've definitely done that. The reason that happens is because we enjoy it so much, we feel like we've actually achieved something. So we go home and we don't implement anything because there's no one to hold us accountable. There's no one who's experienced that with us who's saying, right, okay, you've learned this, let's put it into practice. And it's easy to stagnate and just stop, or become a seminar junkie and go from one to the other. With this, you get a free accountability, 90-day accountability package. So you're partnered up with a different lady on the course, and they will check in with you each week. You have a group phone call with me at the beginning of the 90 days and at the end of the 90 days to make sure that you're on track. I also check in with you each week as your book journey mentor. And, it's really, really phenomenal to see how much progress each woman has made at the end of those 90 days. So in a sense, it's not just a 6-week workshop, it's 90 days to that. You can go to standalone sessions as well. You don't just have to do the 6 weeks. You can choose the days that you want to go. Does this sound good to you? If it sounds good to you, let me know. If you're still here, let me know as well. That would be fantastic. If this is something that you think is of worth and of value, do just let me know. Just type yes, as Susan has just there. As I'm waiting for your messages, I just want to say, I was saying to Tammy at the beginning that I offer free 30-minute consultations. To book one, just drop me an email at info@consciousdreamspublishing.com, or better still, for a more instant response, go to www.consciousdreamspublishing.com/publishing. Fill out a short form about your book or your book idea, and you will be taken through to book a consultation there and then. It sounds awesome. Thank you, Susan. So free consultations, doesn't matter whether you've written your book, you're halfway through, whether you're thinking about it, those consultations are there for you to help you gain clarity and create a clearer vision and structure for your book. So in terms of the workshop, how much is it? It's £399. I forgot to say it's on Saturdays between 10 and 1. So you're looking at, let me do my maths. 6 is 18 hours. So 18 hours of a workshop is £399. And only for webinar attendees, those of you who have signed on today, thank you so much for showing up. Thank you so much for turning up and you know, coming here on time. I know there's been some technical difficulties. Appreciate that so very, very much. Okay, I need to travel to London. Yes, please. I would like a free. Okay, fantastic. So for those watching this webinar, I'm going to scrap the £399 and I'm going to offer this the whole 6 weeks for £150. So that's 18 hours of workshop plus 90 days accountability package plus a discount if you then go on to publish with Conscious Dreams Publishing, all at £150. If that's something that you're interested in, if you think that sounds good, just type in yes. Remember, Susan, as well, you can just come for one workshop. Don't feel that, you know, if you want to pop along and find out what we're all about, and if it's something you'd enjoy, just send me a message separately and we can see what we can sort out again, because you definitely sound like you've got a fantastic story. And do definitely book a consultation as well. That would be great. Okay, so that is being offered to you at £150. This is also, the replay is also going to go out to all the others who signed up to this webinar, unfortunately, who either could not be with us or were experiencing technical difficulties as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this open for the next 48 hours. And if you, this isn't advertised anywhere, so it's not something you can buy online. So what I want you to do, if you're in, I want you just to send me an email, info@consciousdreamspublishing.com. In the subject line, I just want you to write, I'm in, and I will respond back. And it'd be good to have a consultation first to hear a bit about your book, and then we can pop you onto the course. So for that price of £150, but it's only available to the first three women over the next 48 hours. So if this is something that you think is of value and significance and that you're greatly going to benefit from, and you are ready and serious to publish your book, this offer is open to you. So do just drop me an email, info@consciousdreamspublishing.com, and your title in your subject box is I'm in. I have been Daniela Bleckner. You have been absolutely awesome. If you have any questions, please do just pop them in the box. I'm going to give about 5 minutes, 5 more minutes, just to answer any questions, anything self-publishing related, book writing related, anything to do with the workshop. I am all yours. Yes. Oh no, Susan, you would like to do the whole thing, no half measures. Awesome. Does that mean that you'll come down to London every Saturday? That would be fantastic. It starts the 18th of March, which is this Saturday. Every week, every Saturday bar the 15th of April, as it's the Easter holidays. Okay, Tariro, yes, it's going to be every weekend. That's right. Yes, every Saturday. Does anyone have any questions about what I've spoken about so far? Do you want to ask questions about your book? You can ask any publishing questions, anything about the workshop. I'm here for another 3 minutes. Also connect with each other as well. I can see a lot of synergy between some of you. In fact, all of you. Do connect with Takumba as well and find out about her Women Elevating Women event. And to working this Saturday. Oh, you can still come for the other Saturday, Susan, it's fine. You still get the workbook so you can catch up on what we did. And to be honest, a lot of what we did today is in the first session on Saturday. So you'd be top of the class. But yeah, Susan, you're still very welcome to come to the other ones. Is there a virtual option? Unfortunately, there isn't a virtual option at the moment. I do plan to, where are you based, Tammy? Let me know. There isn't a virtual option at the moment. If you know anyone who's great at membership sites, please do let me know, because that's where I want to go to, to that next stage. I've got a lot of US authors who want me to do something online as well. Any other questions? I love that attitude, Susan. You don't do things by half measures. That's great. That's a great way to see to be. Okay. If we're all done, I want to say that you are amazing. Thank you for sticking with me. Oh, you're in Texas. Oh, if we could get enough women together for me to do a workshop over there, let me know. And they'll pop over. But you've been amazing. Thank you so much for coming on. And I will be sending you a link via the replay. You've been awesome, and thank you for bearing with us during technical difficulties. Wish you all the very best with your books. I hope that I'm going to be speaking with every single one of you via a free 30-minute consultation, so I can hear more about you. Okay, and your book. Bye-bye.